Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here tonight because Horizons for Homeless Children has asked me to share my story and my involvement with Horizons. And that story starts in the spring of 2002, when one morning I was riding the T and I saw an advertisement of a little baby sitting in a tire. I'm sure many people have seen the Goodyear tire ad before, and that's what I thought it was, until I read the caption. And the caption said, if a child in a tire on television will make you buy or spend $900 on tires, would a picture of a baby in a tire on a poster, would it get you to volunteer 2 hours a week with homeless children? And I don't know who came up with that ad, but it worked. It was a brilliant ad, and it was a great idea. It made me go home that night, and I told the story, the poster I saw to my girlfriend at the time, my wife now. And it wasn't very long before we got involved with Horizons. We took the training, and in a short time, we became Horizon for Homeless Children Place-Based Activity Leaders, or PALs. For the next 4.5 years, we had the opportunity to nurture children from 12 months old to 12 years old. With the added pressures that homelessness has on homeless families, and particularly children, the Horizon Play Spaces serve as a refuge for kids to just act like kids. Place-based activity leaders like my wife and I, and like the 1,500 other pals in Massachusetts. Each week, they would mentor children, read with them, teach them good behavior skills, and just play with them. For the mothers of these children, the Horizon Play Space offered a reprieve from their everyday stresses. It gave them the opportunity to just have some peaceful time, to search for permanent housing, to do workshops. An excellent experience. When it came to what we would do each week, specifically, my wife and I would show up at a shelter, and the kids would come up and run up to us. My wife would grab one or two by the hand and grab a book. And I would usually spend the first 15 minutes trying to shake them off my legs, because that's what they do. And then the next hour and 45 minutes running after them. But the real thing that's, excuse me. If anyone's ever had a child do that to you, they just come up to you and just run up and grab you by the leg. It's a pretty emotional experience. I mean, it's one of the best feelings in the world. But the real rewarding thing is when you find out that Carlos or Sharon or Tyrese has found permanent housing. It's a bittersweet feeling, because on the one hand, you know you're probably never going to see this kid again. But on the other hand, you know that's the whole point. That's why we do what we do. The great feeling for volunteers is to think that maybe somehow you made a difference. I remember 6 months after a little 3-year-old girl named Ivory left the shelter. I saw her mother and Ivory in downtown Boston. And immediately, as soon as I saw them, Ivory came up to me and she smiled and she recognized me as a pal. And I spoke to her mother for a few minutes, and it really sounded like they were doing well. And that really gave me a good feeling, to know that the pals out there are really making a difference. You know, Horizons for Homeless Children has a kind of a rule that if you're going to volunteer for Horizons, you have to make a 6-month commitment. And the reason they do that is to offer stability in a very unstable life otherwise. And the remarkable thing is that 75% of the place-based activity leaders, the volunteers, that volunteer 2 hours of their time each week, they actually stay on beyond the required 6-month period. After 4.5 years of volunteering, my wife and I couldn't keep up with the weekly commitment, but that didn't stop us from staying involved with Horizons. 2 weeks ago, I ran the Boston Marathon, as Lisa mentioned, my 10th consecutive and my 7th for Horizons. And with the help of friends and family, coworkers, business associates, I personally raised for Horizons over $125,000. I've also stayed involved with advocacy, trying to get state support for Horizons programs and recruitment of other place-based activity leaders. And I think the reason that I stay involved with this organization all stems from my experience as a PAL. That time in my life really showed me that the work of one person could truly make a difference in the life of people that really need our help. I thank each and every one of you here tonight, and I hope you continue to support Horizons. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, here I am again.
Ryan.